Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This should be for the members only, just the members. And it's actually Rumpelstiltskin, but it's the brothers Grimm version. I have not read their version, so shall we get on with it? There was once a miller who was very poor, but he had a beautiful daughter. Now, it fell out that he had occasion to speak with the king, and, in order to give himself an air of importance, he said, "I have a daughter who can spin gold out of straw." The king said to the miller, "That is an art in which I am much interested. If your daughter is as skilled as you say she is, bring her to my castle tomorrow, and I will put her to the test." Accordingly, when the girl was brought to the castle, the king conducted her to a chamber, which was quite full of straw, gave her a spinning wheel and winder, and said, "Now, set to work, will you? And if between tonight and tomorrow at dawn you have not spun this straw into gold, you must die." Thereupon he carefully locked the door, and she remained alone. There sat the miller's daughter, so unfortunate, and for the life of her did not know what to do. She had not the least idea at all how to spin gold, especially from nothing but straw, and she began to become more and more distressed, until at last she began to weep. Then all at once the door sprang open, and stepped a little mannikin, who said, "Good evening, Mistress Miller. What are you weeping for?" "Alas," answered the maiden, "I have got to spin gold out of this straw, and I don't know how to do it." Then the mannikin said, "What will you give me if I spin it for you?" "My necklace," said the maid. The little man took the necklace and sat down before the wheel, and whir, in a trace, the reel was full. Then he fixed another reel, and whir, thrice round, and that was full. And so it went until morning, when all the straw was spun, and all the reels were full of gold. Immediately at sunrise the king came, and when he saw the gold he was astonished and much pleased, but his mind became only the more avaricious, and I don't know what that means, but that's where it's spelt. I'm assuming it's a word they used back then. So he had the miller's daughter taken to another chamber, an even larger one, and it was bigger than the one she'd been in before, but it was still full of straw, and he ordered her to spin it in one night. If she valued her life, she would do it right. The maiden was at her wit's end and began to weep. Then again the door sprang open, and the little mannikin appeared, and said, "What will you give me if I spin the straw into gold for you?" "The ring off my finger," answered the maiden. The little man took the ring, and began to whir again at this wheel, and by morning all the straw was spun to gold. The king was delighted at the sight of the masses of gold, but he was not fully satisfied as of yet. So, once again, he took the miller's daughter to an even larger chamber, again full of straw, and said, "This you must, tonight, spin into gold, but if you succeed, you shall become my queen." "Even if she's only a miller's daughter," thought he, "I shan't find a richer woman in the whole wide world. I mean, straw into gold, nothing more better than that." When the girl was alone, the little man came again and said for a third time, "What will you give me if I spin the straw for you this time?" "I have nothing more that I can give," answered the girl. "Well, promise me your first child if you become queen." "Who knows what may happen?" thought the miller's daughter. But she did not see any way of getting out of all this difficulty, so she promised the little man what he demanded, and in return he did spin all the straw into gold once more. When the king came in the morning and found everything as he wished, of course, he celebrated his marriage with her, and the miller's daughter did indeed become queen. About a year afterwards, a beautiful child was born, but the queen had forgotten all about the little man. However, he suddenly entered her chamber and said, "Now give me what you promised." The queen was terrified and offered the little man all the wealth of the kingdom if he would just let her keep the child. But the little mannikin said, "No, I would rather have some living thing than all the treasures of the world. I'd rather have some living thing." Then the queen began to moan and weep to such an extent the little man actually felt sorry for her. "I will give you 3 days," said he, "and if within that time you discover my name, you shall keep the child." During the night, the queen called to mind all the names that she had ever heard, and sent a messenger all over the country to inquire far and wide what other names there were. When the little man came the next day, she began Caspar, Melcher, Balthar, and mentioned all the names which she knew, one after the other. But at every one the little man said, "No, that's not my name." The second day she had inquiries made all around the neighbourhood for the names of people living there, and suggested to the little man all the most unusual and the strangest of names. Perhaps your name is Cow Ribs, Spindle Shanks, or Spider Legs." But he answered every time, "No, that's not my name." On the third day, the messenger came back and said, "I haven't been able to find any new names, but as I came round the corner of a wood on a lofty mountain, where the fox says good night to the hare, I saw a little house, and in front of this house a fire was burning, and around the fire an incredibly ridiculous little man was leaping, hopping on one leg, and he was singing, 'Today I bake, tomorrow I brew my beer, the next day I will bring the queen's child here. Ha! Looky, look it's yo, look it is me, look it is that met a soul deaf know, that Rumpelstiltskin is my name, ho ho.'" Then you can imagine how delighted the queen was when she heard the name, and when presently afterwards the little man did come, and he asked, "Now, your majesty, what is my name?" At first she asked, "Is your name Tom?" "No." "Is it Dick?" "No." "Is it by any chance Rumpelstiltskin?" "The devil told you that! The devil told you that!" shrieked the little man, and in his rage stamped his right foot into the ground so deep that he sank up to his waist. Then in his passion he seized his left leg with both hands and tore himself asunder in the middle. Meaning he ripped himself in 2, guys, and died. The end. There's the Brothers Grimm version of Rumpelstiltskin for my members. He tore himself in half and died. Wow. That's very different, isn't it? Wowzers. Thanks for listening, guys. And I appreciate your support and your membership. It means the world to me. It really does. There's going to be so much more content for you guys, I promise. Thank you for listening, and many blessings.